paisan, get a load of this guy, moving up in the world, CNE, standing on its own 2 feet. I had to sell my chair to pay for a single movie ticket. Welcome, fellow broke moviegoers, to episode 10 of See No Evil with Standy McStanson over here, JP Sebastian. Yes, I'm wearing pajama pants. Almost makes you want to string dance. Don't sue me, Team Coco. Lots of love. Standing. Coming up on this movie show thing, aka the countdown to the Avatarcalypse. Had to do that part 10 more times. That's only next week, Avatar. I've already seen it, but can only talk about it then. Otherwise, they'll literally send the boys in blue to wash me. Pay attention, JP. Coming up, 2 other major releases this weekend. You can already see right now, The Whale is heartbreaking and a Brendan Fraser triumph. But I'll give you an in-depth film criticism of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Before all that though, it's the week's freshest trailers, but right at the top, Mandatory Monkeys. Take this journey with me. Ew, who's that guy? Yowza. The trailer haul this week is large, so most of these movies to keep an eye out for, you've probably already been monitoring diligently, no doubt, but I'll add my voice to the hype machine and maybe cast your eyes to others that dodged your radar. First, big and obvious, Indiana Jones and the Lost World to Live. I mean, the Dial of Destiny. Hey, I bear Harrison Ford no ill will, I'm just alluding to how aloof about his own movies man can be. But maybe I get that. Maybe an actor is also just allowed to be a technician rather than a zealous believer. Anyway, expect some trickery since at 80 years old, he can probably kick his feet up and leave it to the CG geeks. And though it's all under wraps, probably the next artifact has to do with time travel, since there are predictable turns to de-aging technology throughout. Keen for anything Mads Mikkelsen, that's me, and my love for Antonio Banderas will be made apparent in my criticism later. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny's due June. What fills me with promise about the Return to Seoul trailer is it plays hard to get with its genre. Sure, it's got the adornments of that going back home feel, but against tense music like she's home for revenge. And maybe a French lady's in Korea to find her biological parents and looks like she wants answers. Actress Park Ji-min seems great, and stone cold gives off no signal. With a dragon tattoo sorta edge, and only missing the grody Ryan Gosling silk scorpion jacket to complete the look. This ain't your mama's Minari, or father's The Farewell. Both lovely movies, please do watch them. Return to Seoul looks poised to buck conceptions of foreign in Hollywood, starting December in some countries, staggered through next year. I think until March. Yeah, sadly turns out Marmalade was just Paddington's gateway drug. Cocaine Bear looks like exactly what we deserve. For once, I back the bored internet crowd in their drive to meme this movie into highest grossing of all time. It's a literal mission. Avatar, dead in the water. Endgame, left in the snap dust. Cocaine Bear, white dust. Triple platinum. We need to hand this movie as much as would have saved all of us from the next pandemic. I don't know why, this trailer's made me dumb like that. And what could you possibly want to know? A bear eats cocaine, goes God mode, wreaks havoc, true story. It's an actually talented cast, and thankfully looks like it commits to its stupidity. I'm ready to. We're tanking the global financial system on this movie starting February. And who is this deeply Italian-sounding man? Oh, it's just a Mario voice actor, Chris Pratt. That was terrible and still better. Surprisingly, the Guardians 3 trailer has little humor, except for my darling Drax, and just mad amounts of aggressive crying. Likely mostly over Rocket hauntingly making suicidal overtures. Please don't kill the little dude, guys. He's honestly the most human element of most Marvel movies, and I love him. Isn't it enough that you already tanked Yondu, who tried turning Rocket from the same dark path? At least it seems to shed light on his origin story, which could be good. Also, it's not often superhero movie trailers can get away without a big unveil of the next big bad guy. But this trailer? barely cares for these golden girls, splashed here and there, and focuses mostly on its strength, the chemistry and love of its DIY weirdo family. Good on them. I'm on it like a trash panda on trash come May 2023. Another awkward DIY family on a road trip, Broker looks sure to punch me directly in the chest until I cry. A woman gives up her baby to some black market adoption hustlers who all seem to be duping themselves over the nobility of their cause. The ingenious Song Kang-ho plays similar about his family's hustle in the masterpiece Parasite, and cares too for downtrodden, imperfect families in The Host. And once again, a broke pariah who wants to be good, but nearing his limit of societal rejection. They're all orphans in a way, but hope rears its head, and these strangers trying to seal the deal, including the reluctant mom, start to feel like they could just make it work as a family and forget all the adoption stuff and all their hurt. If you bawled for Tokyo Godfathers, and I know you did, or more obviously Koreeda's previous masterpiece Shoplifters, we're staying sharp for Broker in some countries already, others only around February. And I've been prompted to really probe the deep questions of life thanks to Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Dearest wondrous gorilla, how are you disguised exactly? I've seen a BBC documentary where even an orangutan found a decently convincing robo-ape sus. You're not fooling the wildlife. Who is this for? And you just transform into another bipedal thing? Like, you're already more ready than a robot that has to spend most of its life as a four-door sedan. A truck might hide Optimus Prime, compromising his ability to fight. But Gorilla? You're able to snap spines hidden and snap spines fully transformed, 24 hours a day. Why not just remain an extraordinarily powerful gorilla? True to the franchise aesthetic, they've stayed an eyesore, the Transformers, like someone chucked a blender into a meat grinder, then slam dunked that into a trash compactor on a flaming cargo plane. Also, why do some Transformers just wait around in parking lots for us to get into them? Are the robots perverts? All those questions and more might be revealed when Transformers: Rise of the Beasts rides, June 2023. Another week of latest go-releases, chucked in the movie Meat Grinder, laid on the sacrificial altar of Pandora. Well, before Avatar in mere days, the other big hitter is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, also out this weekend. So all others are extremely indie. No big money taking big risks this weekend. And there's got to be overlap, right? A bunch of you are parents who will be in a hostage situation for Puss in Boots with your kids. And in my film criticism in later, I can assure you, you should relent and hand over the cash. That cat's the bee's knees. But you may be too broke to then support these little guys too. Anyway, we'll figure it out, but these others will be waiting for you once you feel back in the green. And wow, the true story of the Silent Twins is fascinating. And hopefully this movie will be too. You know how some twins apparently develop secret languages with each other? Well, sisters June and Jennifer Gibbons, I repeat, real life, make a pact known only to each other to only speak with each other for years. Sadly, this landed the misunderstood, idiosyncratic, and secretly autistic duo in mental health institutions for over a decade. Black Panther Letitia Wright headlines this eccentric mystery. Check your cinemas and sit quietly for 2 hours if you can. And how about an indie documentary proving you don't have to be so little and so alone all the time? Framing Agnes digs into archives of a 60s gender health study at UCLA, dusting off and breathing new life into interviews with diverse trans people, all sensitively reenacted by trans actors, who all convincingly fill the shoes of mystery research participants, including codename Agnes, revealing a long-standing fight between honesty and access, in its own words. Seems a good reminder that this is a centuries-old, older, uncovering for us all, and should be eye-opening and could be near you right now. When Eva Green's not duping Bond as Vesper Lind, she's a bit of a die-hard weirdo, and we like it. From the Dreamers to Penny Dreadful. And Nocebo's no exception, the opposite of placebo, by the way. For example, like getting drunk off some water in a vodka bottle. We've all embarrassed ourselves. A woman suffers mysterious illness until she welcomes an equally mysterious carer into her life, who concocts her traditional Filipino medicines, setting her straight. But some other dark truths and reveals are afoot too. Maybe Nocebo's just the horror thriller dose you need. This weekend. And going global's a movie I've been fretting about since its lukewarm reviews on the festival circuit. How? Empire of Light is directed by 1917 Sam Mendes, lensed by inventor of camera work Roger Deakins, starring the favourites Academy Queen Olivia Colman. She's a mentally suffering cinema manager who, with her employee in Michael Ward, who has his own daily fight with racism, discovered together the healing power of the very movie medicine they peddle to us. If you've got it in your country, maybe let me know yay or nay while I wait for it over here, nervously. And lastly, the Renaissance everyone's been talking about. If you thought you'd shed your share of tears after Brendan Fraser finally got long overdue love in standing ovations for his masterfully executed role, The Whale's gonna drench you. It's a heartbreaking story that we needn't suffer alone. I was honored to interview the man himself, its screenwriter Sam Hunter, and the rest of its mind-blowing actors like Sadie Sink of Stranger Things, and the gobsmackingly talented Hong Chow, who I gushed about in last week's Criticismian of the Menu. So keep a lookout for those interviews and its Criticismian soon, but The Whale makes landfall across the globe in stages from now through until March in time for Brendan Fraser's guaranteed Oscar win.
Not flying. I will save you. Save me, if it's convenient. You lunch me. And the rest of you play double time. Spanish Splinter.
Every axiom of probability theory confined to the laws of this plane of existence guarantees a movie sequel for a spin-off character a decade later without its core original creative team should be the runt of the franchise litter. But what kind of daredevil hairball hero would Puss in Boots be if his last wish didn't defy all odds to come out inexplicably incredible? And also, despite that decade of development hull, voicing as early as 2014, then putting Puss on ice for years in corporate shakeups, rewrites, cycling through 3 directors, this movie had a better chance of looking like what the cat dragged in, more than its whiskers. All those parameters against it are like when, say, Disney gave their first feline the B team for production, thinking nothing would come of the king. Okay, so it's not like DreamWorks didn't have faith in a movie that previously made millions, or like it's going to be anything like the cultural phenomenon that was The Lion King. I'm just saying, like its kitty cousin, Puss in Boots 2: The Last Wish had no business being this good against all those odds. But Shrek moves in mysterious ways, and this weekend smiled on us all. It's all in the same free-for-all fairy tale world, same dynamics, but it probably would have been daft of them expecting you to be encyclopedic about the narrative threads this long after the first. Long enough for, say, the average cat lover to bury and buy at least half a cat while waiting. Let's not imagine those technicalities, but the Schrödinger nature of Puss's developmental pickle is fitting for a movie that the majority of us neither knew existed, or evaporated, or even cared to look out for after all these years. I'm harping on the time aspect and the wait, but I'm just impressed that they were still like, yeah man, I mean, let's do it, why not? After all that time. Anyway, so the tiger's not changed his stripes in The Last Wish. Puss in Boots is once more the model of outlaw bravado, opening to him as life of a party to swooning masses, hurling adulation and olays at his swashbuckling Zorro antics. He single-handedly defeats the Hacienda's guards and Don surprised by the Puss party on his property. The ruckus wakes a nearby giant, and Puss proceeds to put down this threat on top of the rest, while the crowd cheers the heroism of it all. Then a ball falls on Puss and he dies. But back to the story in a bit. I've got to pause to sink my claws just into this opening scene, because holy hyperventilating one of the most energized yet visually cogent entries you're getting for years. Incredible. A relentless masterclass of animation, wasting not an inch or photon, each playfully warping states from wave to particle and back. Why all these quandaries of quantum physics in the metaphors today? May be inspired by an animation that flatly refuses to be held still. To be clear, this is by standards of other blockbusters. I'm not saying you're bound for some kind of Dali acid trip. Like I said, cogent, clear, pure animated joy. Play, for God's sakes, movies! Like a lot of you, when the first Puss 2 trailer came out, I also strongly suspected Masterpiece Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse basically told DreamWorks and every other studio, anyone can be Spider-Man. You can wear the mask. Your next animation is free to do whatever the f it wants. Lo and behold, it turns out one of the directors The Last Wish cycled through was Bob Persichetti, co-director of Spider-Verse. This is a promising trajectory, by the way, and I hope studios set more animators free to explore on their terms thanks to the mold-breaking Spider-Verse. Thus, Puss's action is both elastic and static, mixing frame rates from fluid to frenetic, and all for laser point purpose, like making a slash seem faster, a lightning dash more tactile, and not just because it was desperate to trigger your spidey senses and borrow nostalgia. And camera work and editing, as with Spider-Verse, putting to shame even superhero movies pulling double the budget. Both roles understanding perfectly their tag teaming with the hero at all times. All three chaining a combo to knock the audience on their asses. I fell through my seat and pressed cheeks to concrete. The cat and the giant could have been duking it out over Tokyo 3. And in later scenes too, you'll think about the physics warping ferocity of, say, Samurai Champloo or Masaki Yuasa, and not just Miles Morales. Truly a breath of fresh air in the billion-dollar drive for bland, photorealistic cringe. In effect, what you're watching is an entire movie with the zoomies. Artful, brilliant zoomies. International symbol for zoomies from now on. Another immersing element about the non-moving parts throughout, the way Spider-Verse beautifully scrapbooked with paper textures, CMYK printer pointillism, a retro shading. The Last Wish, pretty damn wonderfully, blends in impressionistic paint strokes, from large swaths of background down to the smallest details like the sword hilt. So it feels elevated and you approach it with the wonder of a classic art exhibit, respecting the story as told and worn, older and wiser than you, the viewer. But also it just makes it pretty as hell. Elsewhere, it also has these interesting touches of neon tritone scenes, which seem like direct nods to Spider-Verse, and blood-red washouts like classic samurai or westerns. I'm sure I even caught virtual split seconds of claymation and papier-mâché, like handmade for those tiny scenes. This level of devotion and artistic revolution is interesting if New Puss spells the return of our Lord and Savior Shrek. A franchise from a time of clean CG. Does his green grace step into the new painterly world of Puss? We'll see and hope. I should point out, by the way, that DreamWorks' previous cartoonish hoot, The Bad Guys, set a good pace for this kind of energy already. Puss just raises that bar mightily. Geez, I suppose I could devote the entire criticismian section of the show to that opening sequence alone. Too long, zoned out? Point 1. If you've owned half a cat since the first movie, you and anyone of any age, Shrektized or not, can easily dive into 2022 Puss knowing absolutely nothing. Everyone's invited. Point 2. So a bull kills him, he wakes up with a doctor who tells Puss he thoughtlessly blew through his past 8 lives. He plays cocky about his last one until he crosses a bounty-hunting big bad wolf, who nearly bests him. Rightly, he freaks out all the way into retirement, fearing death and burying his name, only to learn there's a magical way he might wish back the lives he once knew, but he'll have to fight for it with old and new compadres and pursuers, including that big bad wolf, who is one of the most terrifying cinema experiences of 2022. I shit you not. Please help your little ones ride it out. But it's possible palpable fear is important because Puss's and our bravery might have to involve pushing through the dark despite shitting ourselves. I'm no child psychologist, but that's my take. Legitimately, some of the scariest scenes this year. And a single shot in their bar scene together. Sit down, Tarantino, who are you? Guaranteed hilarity for adults, even bleeping rare, non-awkward, mild profanity, and some visual jokes are so subtle, using any part of the screen so quick you might miss it if the person next to you didn't burst out laughing to catch you up. DreamWorks even said, screw it, show a whole wound and blood. Real danger in this movie. But there's plenty for kids and for you too in that realm. Pure unceasing silliness. I cracked up at a chicken, a dancing horse, a poop scene, and the rule-breaking glimmers of him behaving like a domesticated regular lolcat. Now, despite that term lolcat, by the way, bless them for not once relying on desperate, played-out references to pop culture, Katy Perry cameos and the like. The writing is self-contained and confident. As a species, we need to rapidly research how to get Antonio Banderas 8 more lives because the man is one of our best. For all my rightful whinging about the distinction between movie stars and voice actors vis-a-vis Chris Pratt's Mario recently, Banderas is capable of taking even your job, whatever you may do. Here, visualizing with every cell of his body, somehow being Puss in Boots. He had to have been in the booth wearing naught but the hat, the belt and the boots, letting the P be free to achieve such synchronization with the character. The man is one of the best to ever do it. Such an overlooked actor. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, is not perfect, of course, but there's not a pawful lot anyone could improve about it, scratching up a worthy and appropriate 9 out of 10. A reminder to guide your kids about its scary and dangerous parts, but it's wonderfully fun and a promise of a brighter future for CG, 3D, 2D, and all of that kinds of animation.
I am Puss in Boots! I laugh at death! I am known by many names. The Stabby Tabby, El Macho Gato, the Leche Whisperer. I am Puss in Boots!
It's amazing to bring Puss in Boots back to the big screen. It's just nothing but a joy.
There's a charisma that Antonio does perfectly.
Welcome to my fiesta! This will revolutionize trouble. Watch!
He's bigger than life in everything he does.
Hey! This is a party! Where's the music?
All of the thrill and all of the adventures. Oh my God, I absolutely loved it.
The legend will never die!
Puss in Boots is on the last of his 9 lives.
It's the first time that he knows that death is a possibility.
The wishing star could get me my lives back.
But every fairy tale character are after this wishing star too.
I mean, you can imagine who wins.
I just love the smell of fear.
Hello, Mrs.
We're looking for the legendary Puss in Boots. Have you perhaps seen it?
Goldie, is this him?
Who is this guy?
I'm Puss's best friend.
And you are Soft Paws. Kitty's Soft Paws.
Oh, look at her! Am I doing it?
It is more beautiful than you can imagine. It is super fun.
What? What's funny?
It just makes you feel good when you look at life through a positive lens.
Adventurous, energetic, exciting, cute.
It was for me the most spectacular of all this time.
Hey, you want to see something cool? Good people, accept this golden gift from Puss in Boots!
In conclusion, wow, I've just been forgetting that pun this whole time. Puss in Boots, Spider-Verse, etc. We might be on the tip of some sort of creative revolution, at least for blockbuster animations. I'm hopeful. But I'm also cinema spent. Join me, JP, same time next week, standing, for the Avatar show. I mean, see no evil. Ciao.